Today we will be discussing the Norfolk Botanical Garden's history. The Norfolk Botanical Garden in Norfolk, Virginia originated in 1938 during the Great Depression. It was established as the Norfolk Azalea Garden to beautify the city for local residents and as a source of income during the Great Depression. Norfolk received a WPA grant to create this beautiful jewel. 200 African-American women and 20 African-American men were hired to clear a swampy tract of land adjacent to the Norfolk Airport. It was felt that this was the ideal location because it would be convenient for local residents, and it would also be the first venue that visitors would see as they entered the city. The 220 gardeners were paid 25 cents per hour, working 5 days per week between September 1938 and April 1942. Within 6 months, they had cleared underbrush, dug roots, cut trees, and filled in land with dirt to plant 4,000 azaleas, 2,000 rhododendrons, 100 bushels of daffodils, camellias, and other shrubs. They continued to work, and by the end of the first year, they had cleared 25 acres of this swampy land. Within 1 year, they had developed an attraction that created a venue for many visitors and volunteers. Gardeners volunteered to help with the planting during the 4-year span that they worked in the garden. The Old Dominion Horticulture Society was soon formed by the garden volunteers. By the early 1940s, the garden was so popular and beautiful that the National Geographic magazine featured the Norfolk Azalea Garden on its cover in May 1947. The garden was featured in many popular national magazines such as Women's Day, Good Housekeeping, and others, and it appeared in many news articles. By 1954, it became the host venue for the annual NATO, or North Atlantic Treaty Organization's annual festival. It was home to this spring event for over 50 years. The garden has received many awards, and it is nationally accredited, as well as registered on the Virginia Historical Registry and on the National Historical Registry. However, when the gardeners left in 1942, they were forgotten and were never recognized until 2003, when middle school students began to research the history and identify the gardeners whose names were not kept in the files. Executive Director Donna Buma, along with students, community members, and other volunteers, led efforts to identify gardeners. Today, 65 gardeners have been identified and are memorialized at the garden. A sculpture, Breaking Ground, stands in a WPA memorial ground as you enter the garden. Current President and CEO Michael Desplaines accepted a 10-foot sculpture intertwined from the city of Norfolk in 2016 to honor the 2016 program for the gardeners. A more detailed account of the journey to recognize the legacy of the garden and the gardeners is found in the WPA Original Gardeners online, in local libraries, bookstores, in Newport News, and in Hampton. Please tell the story. Thank you, Martha Wilk.